What about oil? Again, when you have China out there doing everything they possibly can to make sure that they've got their oil supplies up, they're putting thousands of cars on the road. As you know, a lot of people say, well, we don't understand what's going on out there. Well, there's only so much oil out there in the world right now, and there's only so much of it that's been refined. The whole world is now consuming more, and other areas are producing more, but not in this country. You know, one of the things that we should be doing is, as the gentleman from Pennsylvania mentioned, we've got to be drilling. We've got to be exploring. And, you know, one of the places we've been talking about a lot is Anwar in Alaska. And as already been mentioned, how big are we talking here? We're talking 0.5% of that area of 19.6 million acres total. We're only talking 2,000 acres. Anybody's ever done any title work, and you know that a section of land is only 640 acres, which is 1 square mile. We're talking a little over 3 square miles. 3 square miles. When we're talking about an area of 19.6 million acres, and we're not allowed to go in there and produce, and there's estimated that we have 10.4 billion barrels of oil that we can extract up there. What's it all about? That's twice the proven oil reserves in Texas, almost half of the total U.S. proven reserves of 21 billion barrels. What are we doing? What's this Congress doing? Absolutely nothing. But we are doing something that this past year we almost imported 65% of the oil that we need to use in this country. 65% of the oil being imported into this country. Talked about a little bit earlier, you know, we're watching our dollars flow overseas. What's that all mean to America? Well, you know, we have a $9 trillion national debt right now, and what scares the devil and daylights out of me is this little fact. $2.4 trillion of that national debt is owned by foreign countries. The Chinese now own almost $0.5 trillion of American debt. That's what's happening. You know, the American people out there, again, they get it. This Congress doesn't. Again, as the gentleman mentioned earlier, right now it's estimated there's 420 trillion cubic feet of natural gas offshore and 86 billion barrels of oil. 85% of that's off limits, and we can't afford that. We can't afford that for the future. Onshore, it's estimated there's and on federal lands, 31 billion barrels of oil and 231 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. And again, it's restricted down to access, which does not allow Americans to be getting that, to 92% on federal lands for oil and 90% for natural gas. We can't get to it. What civilized country in the world allows this to happen? Not very many. But right here in this country, it's happening. It's happening here, ladies and gentlemen, and we're doing nothing. The old saying is Rome burned and Nero fiddled. That's what's happening. We haven't built a new refinery in this country. You know, talk about problems in 2.5 decades. You know, we're unfortunate in my district, just by coincidence, that I have a company that produces solar panels. Over 99% of their production goes overseas to Europe. We have another plant that's going to be constructed. Solar is another area out there. It's good supplemental power. We also have the only 4 wind turbines located in the state of Ohio, or I can see them out my back door in Bowling Green. But we only have 4. There's a lot of objection now because people say they're unsightly, they don't want them, build them someplace else. But when you talk about wind-powered turbines, to kind of get an idea how many you have to equal something, you have to have between 600 and 800 turbines to equal 1 coal-fired plant, or anywhere from 1,250 to 1,700 wind turbines to equal 1 nuclear power plant. And if we're having problems around the Bowling Green in Ohio getting turbines built, how are we going to build 1,700 turbines if people are objecting to a few? Because now in Ohio, the Division of Wildlife is going to have to start making assessments of what birds might be killed or a bat. and it's going to be blocking them. You know, we also have an ethanol plant in my district. We're working on biofuels. It's all out there. But we've got to be acting. We've got to be acting now. We can't wait. The American people can't wait because we've got to be getting this done today. You know, this country 10, 20 years ago had the ability to make mistakes and say, well, in a few years, okay, we could get it corrected. We can't do that today. Why can't we do that today? Because the rest of the world has caught on and they're moving. Every day that we do not act, they are, and we're falling farther and farther behind. That's American oil, energy that we have to be producing, and we're not doing it. I introduced a House resolution not too long ago, 1206, and it's really pretty basic, what we need to be doing. Just a few points. We have to expand the use of our renewables and alternative energy sources. We have to increase the U.S. domestic refining capacity. We have to promote and incentivize an increase in the conservation and energy efficiency, expand and promote additional research and development through new and innovative methods such as public-private partnerships, and enhancing the consumer awareness and education regarding methods to increase energy efficiency and available alternative fuel sources to reduce our dependence on Middle Eastern oil. But the time's getting short. The clock's ticking, and America must act now. I thank the gentleman for Pennsylvania, and I yield back.